to become so porous that vital nutrients begin to leak out, which in turn elevates concentrations of these chemicals in the bloodstream, and that can
I'm gonna be honest, I'm not letting a jellyfish take me out. There's no way.
lead to cardiovascular collapse,
There's no
therefore
way.
death within about 5 minutes.
I'm
Add
built
to this
different.
that victims are usually in deep water with no chance of reaching dry land, so even if they don't die immediately, they're likely to drown.
Okay,
Number
why are we
14,
getting so close to
mouse
it?
spider. There are 18 different species of
Imagine putting on your shoe and this fucker was in there. Oh!
all of which are in the genus Missolina, and 17 of which are found across Australia. They get their name because they were originally believed to dig winding burrows in a similar way that mice do, although this is now known not to be true, and they actually live in underground cavities that are up to a foot or a third of a meter deep. They usually grow to around 5 inches, or about 5 centimeters long, and contain vivid colors across their carapace, which makes it seem shiny. If you see one out in the open, it's more than likely a male because the females spend most of their lives within the burrows in wait for their
Oh, big ass spider. I don't like those.
partner to bring back small insects for them to feed on. Both sexes produce a nasty toxin though, so if you do come across one, you should definitely stay well clear.
Whoa!
Luckily, mouse spiders tend to be non-aggressive. Even if they do bite, they normally don't inject any venom, instead choosing to keep it for use against prey. But if you do fall victim to a wet bite, the consequences can be fatal. Their
A wet bite? What the fuck is that?
venom contains a type of robust toxin that's similar to that found in other Australian spider species, and left untreated, it can lead to cardiovascular issues, the accumulation of fluid
Dude,
in the
that
lungs, and
fucker
in
is
some cases,
intimidating.
heart failure.
Imagine it just grabbing your big toe. Ooh.
Number 13.
Cut my whole foot off.
Blue-ringed octopus. Currently, there are 4 known types of blue-ringed octopus, with the most commonly seen 3 of them being native to Australian waters. Now, they're usually seen in rock pools or on coral reefs. Their skin is mainly yellow, but has a series of blue-black rings that will change color when the animals feel
They look cool.
danger.
All the most
They grow to
dangerous
about
shit
just
looks
8 inches
cool.
or 20 centimeters long.
like,
and
whoa,
feed on
I wanna
crustaceans
touch
like
it.
crabs and shrimp. But because of their vulnerability to predation from larger animals, they've developed a highly effective defensive technique. Their bodies are packed full of high levels of tetrodotoxin, and they produce venom that not only contains a neurotoxin, but several other potent chemicals. This means that consuming a blue-ringed octopus is almost guaranteed to be deadly, and handling one is an extreme risk because if they bite you, you'll be in a world of pain.
Oh, they
and
bite you.
possibly death. Each blue-ringed octopus
Interesting.
contains
What does it
enough venom
chase
at any
after you,
time to
bites
kill
you?
26 healthy adults. And to make things worse, it's not immediately noticeable if you've been bitten. Symptoms will begin to develop within several minutes, however, and can include nausea, heart failure, and paralysis. Death usually happens because of the paralysis in the respiratory system, and currently there's no known antivenom to help overcome it. Instead,
no
victims who were able
antivenom?
to get to hospital in time are put on ventilators to ensure they keep breathing. And it's simply a case of waiting and hoping that the body can flush out those toxins. Redback spider. Now, Australia is known for the variety of different species of spider, but while the largest ones may give you a fright, it's often the smaller ones that you need to be most wary of.
Dude, all spiders can go fuck off, man. Why are you here?
One of
Who
the most
invited
deadly
you?
is called the redback, which is a type of widow spider, but far more dangerous than the closely related black and brown varieties. With a body length of up to 0.4 inches or about a
gosh.
centimeter, they're identifiable by the spherical black body with a red stripe along the back.
Imagine
and
that
an
fucker's just
hourglass-shaped
sitting in
marking
your
on their
headset. You put your
undersides of the
headset
abdomen.
on.
They're a nocturnal
Oh!
messy webs in warm, sheltered locations, and this means that quiet human structures are ideal for them. Their usual diet is made up of insects, spiders, and other small animals that get caught in their webs. And when this happens, the redback will crawl up to it, squirt it with a sticky web-like substance to prevent it from moving, inject its highly potent venom with its 2 fangs, and then wrap the prey in silk before sucking up the liquefied remains.
Alright, freaky ass spider. Let's fucking calm down. Just eat your food.
Due to the way they often
You're doing
build
the
their
most.
webs near human activity and the fact they'll aggressively defend themselves if they feel at risk, redbacks are one of the most potentially problematic spider species for humans, with bites often resulting in extreme pain, nausea, vomiting, and hallucinations. Redback is said to have historically been responsible for more human envenomations that required treatment than any other animal in Australia, with as many as 10,000 people thought to be bitten each year. And while this is so
Whoa.
bad, and it will have been extremely unpleasant for all who were attacked, there's a very good chance you'll survive, as there's now a highly effective treatment. In fact, the most recent death associated with one happened in 2016, and there are only 15 confirmed deaths by redbacks in the last 150 years.
Probably an old man putting
Number
on his
11,
slipper.
Bull shark. Sharks are known for being
Okay,
the
now we're getting
alpha
to the fucking
predators
big
of the
guns.
ocean. And one of the reasons they've been able to maintain this position for hundreds of thousands of years is that they've evolved to be extremely efficient killing machines. While the waters around Australia may contain
I will never be killed by a shark. That's facts.
the deadliest of them
That's
all,
facts.
the great white, there's arguably a much greater risk to people from another species,
Not this
the bull
guy.
shark. What's dangerous about bull sharks is that they tend to keep to the regions that are also often used by humans, and they've been known to swim up rivers into fresh water in search of prey. Growing to an average of 8 feet or about 2.5 meters long, with many individuals known to have exceeded this, they have one of the strongest bite forces of any known living fish.
Dude, I need to
They're
start,
also
like,
known
if I
for
get in
being
that
highly
water, bro,
aggressive, too,
I need, like, a
both while hunting
big
and defending
knife
their
on me.
territory. And this means they're one of 3 species of shark most likely
I
to
need a
attack humans.
big knife on me.
In fact, it's widely believed that a bull shark was responsible for the Jersey Shore shark attacks of 1916, which was the event that served as the inspiration for the novel and movie
Jaws.
As a highly unpredictable species, if you ever find yourself in the water near one of these sharks, you'd better get to safety quick, because once one has set its sights on you,
Yikes.
there's very little you're able to do to protect yourself.
Oh, yeah, that's another fear right there.
Number
Middle of the
10,
ocean.
Northern funnel web spider.
I hate
Dwelling
spiders
funnel-web
so
spider is a species
much.
that can be found in eastern Australia, and one of the 2 types of funnel webs that are known to live in trees.
The hairy, they're fangy, they're big ass, furry, like. Ugh.
Some individuals having been found as high as 100 feet or about 30 meters up in the forest canopy. Their bodies alone grow to around 2 inches or 5 centimeters long, and with their legs adding substantially more bulk to their overall appearance, they're also known for either their black or dark brown colorations.
Oh,
They set up their
gosh.
webs in the trees to capture prey, but will also hunt along the floor at certain times of day. They can be quite aggressive, and instead of running, they'll try to stand their ground, often standing on their back legs and exposing their fangs.
Oh, look
towards
at it,
any
it's on a
perceived
shoe.
threats. When they do
That
this, small
fucker will
drops of
hide in
venom
a
can be
shoe
seen forming
and get your big toe like it's nobody's business.
on their teeth. This is a sign that the spider is preparing to bite. If they do decide to attack, they're likely to deliver a significant amount of venom, and more than 60% of bites on humans are said to result in serious symptoms. These can include extreme perspiration, high blood pressure, an irregular heartbeat, extreme pain, and the accumulation
Why
of
are we just
fluid
holding
in
him?
and around the lungs, which in extreme situations can lead to death. In fact, the northern funnel web injects so much venom with each bite, and that venom is extremely potent. It means that the species is often regarded as one of the most venomous in the world. It's just fortunate that attacks on humans are relatively rare.
Yeah, I'm
Number
good.
9. Saltwater crocodile.
Whoa.
Found across Southeast Asia,
Another
and with
one
as
of my
many as
big
200,000
fears.
individuals around Australia, saltwater crocodiles are the largest known
I'd
living
rather get killed by a shark than one of these fuckers. Sorry.
reptiles, and easily the most powerful and potentially vicious
gosh.
creatures in the country. A full-grown adult can grow beyond 21 feet or 6.3 meters long and weigh as much as 2,900 pounds. And they're at the top of the food chain in the shallow saltwater and freshwater marshy regions that they live in.
Holy shit.
Fossils of salties have been found in Australia that date back as far as the Pliocene era, more than 2.5 million years ago, and they're such effective predators that they've changed very little since then. With wider snouts than most other crocs and broad bodies that are more similar to those of alligators, they tend to grab their prey and drag it underwater to drown it before swallowing it whole. Of course, the deadliest part of the saltwater crocodile is its bite, and this species holds the record for the strongest bite force of any animal that's been tested in lab settings, achieving 3,690 psi, which is around a third more powerful than the American alligator. What's surprising, though, is that this force is only that strong in one direction when they're biting down, and their jaws are so weak when opening that they can be held closed with tape. Of all crocodilians, salties are most likely to treat humans that venture into their territory as prey, and in Australia alone there's an average of 2 fatalities a year that are attributed to them. This is a low number, though. It's thought to be the
crazy.
result of a concerted campaign to warn people of the risks and to stay clear of areas where the crocs are present. there's no doubt that they're incredibly dangerous
Yeah,
animals,
y'all
and
got
probably one
that.
of the most likely creatures worldwide to happily attack you, kill you, and eat you if you got close enough.
Yeah,
Number 8,
you got that,
textile
my
cone
friend.
snail. Normally found in warmer tropical
You got
waters,
that,
there are
bro.
at least 900 different
You won't
known
find me in
species
Australia.
of cone snails around the world, with the greatest variety being in the western Indo-Pacific Ocean, and at least 150 known from the coastline of Australia. Taking on a wide range of different shapes and sizes, you might well be tempted to pick one up if you ever see one, but the snail inside it is still alive, and this could turn out to be a big mistake. That's because cone snails are highly predatory animals and produce concentrated levels of potent toxins that allow them to hunt other creatures.
Dude, if
in
I
the
died
ocean.
from a cone
They
snail,
have a modified tooth.
I personally want you to whoop my ass in my grave if I die from a cone snail. Dude, just whoop my ass already.
Which is as
Please.
sharp as a hypodermic
A
needle.
fucking snail?
They're able to extend it a long way out of their body to deliver the venom, something they're likely to do to try to defend themselves if they're handled. It's almost like a harpoon. This tooth will detach from the snail so all the venom is injected into the target, and a backup tooth will move into place so they can strike again almost instantaneously if they need to. While
Damn.
the sting of a smaller cone snail may be no worse than that of a bee, the amount of toxin delivered by a larger cone snail can be fatal, paralysis of the respiratory system that, in serious cases, can lead to asphyxiation.
Jeez.
Number 7. Irukandji. Sometimes categorized alongside the box jellyfish, there are 16 known species of Irukandji jellies, all of which are only native to the northern waters of Australia and are regarded as some of the most venomous creatures on the planet. Fortunately, they're relatively rare, but with all the species typically growing a bell measuring an inch or about 2.5 centimeters across at most, and transparent tentacles from just a few inches to up to 3 feet or a meter long, it's virtually impossible to know quite how many there actually are in the water. The first anything was known about them was in 1952, with the classification of a new condition called Irukandji syndrome, and this was later confirmed to be caused by them. Not only do they have stingers on their tentacles, but they have them around their bells too, and they're also able to actively shoot stingers from their tentacles.
How in the hell are you supposed to avoid this thing, man? You could accidentally swallow this motherfucker. You're fucking swimming in the ocean and you gulp water. This fucker's inside of your stomach. Pause.
Prey, which shows they're active predators as opposed
How
to
small
passive
it is.
ones, like most include symptoms such as muscle cramps, pain in the kidneys, the sense of burning across the skin and in particular the face, headaches, nausea, sweating, and intense psychological distress. This syndrome can fortunately be treated, so deaths are pretty unusual, but cases have in recent years become more
look how
common in
small those
Australia
things
and
are.
further afield, which is causing
How are you
concern
supposed to
that
avoid
changing
those?
ocean temperatures are
Your eye
allowing them
wouldn't
to
even
spread
see
to
it.
regions where people aren't familiar with the symptoms and the immediate need for medical intervention when they develop, something that could lead to increased deaths.
Looks like sperm cells.
Number 6. Common death adder. The common death adder is a variety of death adder that's found in Australia and New Guinea. Visually looking very similar to a viper, they have triangular heads and short bodies and are perfectly colored to
Holy
camouflage in the undergrowth.
shit.
They're mainly found in forests, woodlands, and grasslands on the eastern coast of Australia, but with increasing pressures on population numbers, particularly because of the spread of cane toads, these snakes are beginning to venture beyond their traditional range.
Snakes.
Delivering a deadly
I don't know how I
bite,
feel
their
about
venom
snakes.
contains a nasty neurotoxin which attacks the muscles and can lead to a
Especially
painful
that
death.
big. That's
It
like
delivers the
freaky.
fastest strike of all snakes native to Australia, taking only 0.13 seconds to strike and return back to where it was, and it can kill a human within 6 hours without treatment. Luckily, antivenoms are effective against the effects, and because of the
Yikes.
relatively slow-acting nature of their toxins,
That
they aren't
motherfucker
as
looks
deadly as they
mean.
once were. Before the antivenom was introduced, death adder attacks would result in a mortality rate of 50%.
Ugh.
And now it's been years since anyone succumbed to a bite. Common death adders are, though, one of the snake species that's more likely to bite a person who's walking through brushland habitats, and that's because of the way that they hunt. Rather than actively tracking prey, they coil up and hide in the undergrowth and wait for something to go past. It's easy for them to mistake a human for a more
Yikes.
manageable-sized prey, so bites around the ankles are a risk in the areas that they're present. Number 5. Jumper ants. There are a number
Huh? If you let a freaking ant take you out of this world, you deserve it.
Number of ant species across the globe that possess potent venom and are able to inflict a nasty bite, but there's one in Australia that, because of its behavior, is able to attack in ways unlike any others. Known as jumper ants, they're native to eastern Australia and are relatively large, with some workers growing to over 0.6 inches or 1.5 centimeters long. Identifiable by their orange and black coloration, they're able to jump 4 inches or just over 10 centimeters in the air, which means that when acting in a defensive way, they're able to leap up and bite at parts of the perceived threat that other ants can't. Main reason for this, though, is so they can reach the bushes and trees to forage for food as opposed to staying on the ground. They're also known to enslave ants of other species to work for them and will be extremely aggressive when trying to protect their colony.
We have slave owner ants?
And their venom is
Don't let TikTok find out about this. You'll get canceled quick.
It's deadly, and even on humans, the sting of a single ant is potentially fatal if it triggers anaphylaxis. And even if it doesn't, you can expect a burning sensation around the site of the sting for many days after it happened. And if left untreated, it can develop into a painful ulcer, and that'll take far longer to heal. Number 4. Reef stonefish. If you're swimming over reefs around Australia, you might well see what happens to be a rock or a piece of coral moving. And if you do, it'd be a good idea to stay well clear of it.
Oh, heck
That's because you might have spotted what's often regarded to be the deadliest known fish in the oceans because of how often they're encountered by people. The reef stonefish.
Whoa.
Normally taking on a brown or gray color
Freaky
to blend in with the
looking
environment.
thing, dude.
They may also have dashes of yellow, orange, or red. They grow to around 16 inches
What a
or 40
freaky
centimeters long
looking
and spend
thing,
most of their
dude.
time motionless in wait for prey. When a target passes by, reef stonefish have been seen to strike within 1/100th of a second, leaving virtually no chance for their victim to escape. Along their dorsal area, they have 13 rigid spines that are sharp enough to puncture through boots, and each of these spines is fed by 2 venom sacs, making it by far the most venomous fish of all.
It can puncture
Venom
through a
sacs,
boot?
making it by far the most venomous fish of all. Across the 13 spines, there's enough venom to deliver a fatal dose to 2 people, and even if you're only caught by 1 or 2 of them, you'll develop symptoms like extreme pain, shock, and potentially even temporary paralysis. Many people who have been unfortunate enough to be stung by one of these have never made a full recovery, as the venom can be so destructive it causes permanent nerve damage around the affected site, which can lead to lifelong muscular atrophy. Number 3.
I'll never go in the
Inland
ocean again.
taipan. Often referred to as the fierce snake, the inland taipan is one of the most deadly creatures on the planet. Its bite delivers the most toxic venom of any snake and can kill a human in less than an hour. Found in the semi-arid regions of central eastern Australia,
Might be some deadlier
this
than that.
brown or olive-colored serpent is a specialist mammal hunter, with venom that is adapted to be particularly effective on warm-blooded animals. In one bite, the snake releases enough toxicity to kill more than 100 adults, the most potent neurotoxins ever discovered, and causes the nervous system to shut down, as well as hemotoxins that destroy red blood cells and prevent oxygen passing around the body.
I'll never go to Australia. It's
Myotoxins
okay.
that affect the muscles and cause paralysis, and a few other nasty chemicals that affect the kidneys and blood vessels. Death from the venom will usually come from the side effects of paralysis that bring on respiratory failure or hemorrhaging that occurs as a result of the attack on the circulatory system, meaning it's also a rather unpleasant last few moments before it takes hold. Fortunately, antivenom is available to help treat the effects of a bite from the inland taipan, but you would need to be treated fairly soon after the incident, and even then, you'd have to suffer through some painful side effects.
Fuck that snake.
Number 2. Australian paralysis tick.
What?
Of around 75 different species of tick in Australia, the ominously named Australian paralysis tick is seen as the most problematic to humans. Found exclusively along the country's eastern coastline,
any
particularly
bug-
in damp forest.
Any bug that likes to suck on blood and blood-sucking bugs freak
Darius,
me
they have 4
out,
different
dude.
stages of their life cycles.
Oh my
And in
gosh.
3 of these, they will attach to hosts and begin to feed. As the region they're
So
native to is also
gross.
highly populated, bites from these ticks are fairly common and will cause rashes, itching, and pain around the site for people, and occasionally may trigger an allergic reaction that can be far more dangerous. The risk they pose, though, is to pets and livestock, especially as they're tricky to spot beneath fur. And if they're able to feed for long enough, the toxins they pump into the host's blood will begin to have adverse effects. Often leading to temporary paralysis, it's thought that as many as 100,000 domesticated animals suffer from symptoms related to ticks each year, with as many as 10,000 needing veterinary
Dude, if you got animals and they're not on like tick and flea medications, bro, you're fucked up. If you're letting them just get that shit, dude, crazy.
And in the wild, amongst livestock, the figure of affected animals is likely to be many times that. With the further risk of the ticks passing on bacterial diseases as well,
little
if you get
bro,
any sense that
big
one of these
bro,
has attached itself to you, it's important you carefully remove it as quickly as possible.
Don't you get Lyme disease too from ticks?
Number 1. Sydney funnel web spider.
Ah!
There are a number of different funnel web species in Australia, but one of the most notorious and dangerous is the Sydney funnel web. Found in the region around the city of Sydney, they grow bodies that are up to 2 inches or 5 centimeters long and have a dark coloration that's between dark blue to black or brown. They lay in wait in burrows with a complex network of webs in the surrounding area that lets them know by vibration whether something is passing by.
I don't even
When the
want my
chance presents
feet on the
itself,
floor,
they leap
dude.
out, grab their prey, which includes insects and frogs, by their front legs and bite down with their fangs to inject venom, before waiting for their target to be weak enough that it can be consumed. If they feel threatened or angered, they rear up on their back legs and display their fangs, and if they need to, they'll hold on tight with their front legs and deliver repeated bites. Compounds within their venom mean that it's a particularly effective thing against humans and other primates, and targets the central nervous system. Sometimes after biting, the spider will remain attached to you because its fangs have dug in so deep, and symptoms will begin to develop within an hour. They include muscle twitching, difficulty breathing, and confusion, and, particularly if they've bitten several times, can lead to death if medical attention isn't given soon enough.
Holy shit.
I'll see you next time. Watch out for those creepy crawlies.
Okay, so is the spider the most dangerous, or was it the inland snake? Or was it the little jelly guy? I think me personally think the most dangerous one would probably be the snake. I'm surprised they didn't bring up like a scorpion, because I thought scorpions are pretty deadly too, and I thought Australia has some pretty crazy ones.